I'm Nikki and welcome to the Preppy Possum. Today I'm going to lead you step by step through a painting. Today we're going to paint a water pitcher with some cherry blossoms in it. So to start out, let's grab like a good drawing brush. So a number 4. I don't know why I said 3. Number 4 is better. So grab like a number 4 and dry it off, and let's grab like a little bit of like a light gray or something to draw with. And we're going to start by drawing our vase. So we'll skip up just a little smidge from the bottom of the canvas and do you like a little smiley face, like a little droopy line. And don't worry like what this looks like, because we're going to throw a lot of paint on our picture, so we can always tweak the size of our jar and make it bigger or smaller. And then once you get that droopy line, then we're going to throw a little line that goes straight up for at least like 5 or 6 inches. Which you can make yours like taller or shorter than mine. And then once you have the lines off the edge, then let's go ahead and we're just going to curve it in just a little bit at the top. I might throw it up just a little bit higher and curve it in. On that left-hand side, just kind of do a little whoop, like a little left-hand side of a rainbow. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to do like something similar, even though our handle's going to come back and kind of cover it later. Then now we have it kind of whooped in a little bit. So then we're going to throw the little lip of the picture out. So you kind of want to do like a little diagonal. And it can come out just a little bit further than the jar. And then right off the top of that, like once you get your little pour spout, then we're going to throw a line that just barely leans up. So it barely leans up, and throw it over to the right. And then we'll kind of throw just a little bit of a lip on the right hand side. So let it lean out just a smidge on the right hand side. And then once we have that, let's go ahead and throw a handle on here. So I'm going to kind of start by throwing like where the handle attaches. So you just want to do kind of like a little C shape. So a little C shape there, and then skip down and throw like a little C shape. Hopefully that's a big enough handle. We'll get it on there and we'll see what it looks like. But once you have both of your little C's, then we're just going to throw a little line like right here in between there. So it's kind of like a backward C. But just kind of connect the bottom of the one to the top of the other C. And then we'll get the other side of our handle too. And it's fine if your handle goes off the edge. It's fine if it doesn't, and it's fine if it does. It's kind of, everybody's will hit a little different. All right, that's probably a good start because we're going to have to tweak it anyway once we get it on there. So that's probably a good little start to our vase. So we'll go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And while we have like a little bit of an outline on there, let's grab a little bit bigger size brush, so like a number 8, and dry it off. And we're going to grab a bunch of white. And we're just going to go ahead and start in the middle. And we're going to throw a thick layer on there just to get some paint on there. I would get all through the middle first, and then we'll come back and get like all the way up next to the light gray. All right, now I'm gonna eat away at my light gray a little bit, which is fine if it like mixes in. You kind of want it to. So I'm just going to take it all the way to that line we started with. And don't worry if your line's like a little more pronounced, if it dried a little faster. Let's go ahead and throw like a layer in through our handle too. All right, so we have us a little layer on our base, layer on our handle. Let's go ahead and wipe that one off, chunk it in the water. And let's grab like a smaller size brush again, so like a number 3. So now that we have like the start of the vase on there, let's grab like a little bit smaller size brush, so like a number 4 again, and dry it off. And I'm gonna grab some black with like a little dark gray, some black and dark gray together. And I'm just gonna trace around the outside of the vase. And don't worry if you like eat away too much of the vase, because we'll come back and go over it again anyway. Like I might have eaten away at my handle too much a little bit right there. While I have this little brush, I might just go ahead and fill that little section in. That's a little wonky, but we'll come back and smooth it out anyway. So once you have a layer on that, then just kind of wipe it off, chunk it in the water, and you can grab a humongous brush and dry it off. And we'll use those same colors, and then we'll just go ahead and do a thick layer on the background. right, then we'll just kind of wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. So now that we have like our background a little bit dry, I'm actually gonna throw another layer on the background. So just like grab a big brush again and some more of that black and gray, just because dark colors don't cover quite as well. And we're just gonna lay another thick layer on there. That way we'll get it good and covered. And I would get like all the big areas with the big brush, and then if you need to switch out to a smaller brush to get right up next to it, then you can do that. And we'll come back and kind of hit our edges again anyway, so don't worry if you like square them off too much with a big square brush. Whoa. Yeah, those at home, you can just use your finger. That's the most important tool. But we're gonna add more white to that anyway, so it won't matter. I had too much water in my big brush. But we'll go ahead and wipe that one off once you get it all the way up next to it, and chunk that one in the water. Let's go ahead and grab like a pretty big size brush again, so like a number 8 or something, number 6, number 8, and we're gonna grab some more bright white, and we're gonna throw another layer on our vase since our background's kind of dry right now. And let's throw a little bit of gray. So with that same big brush, throw you a little bit of gray in a few places. So up here at where the lip comes out, you can kind of like lean it out just a little bit. And this is where, like, if your jar got a little wonky, your vase, sorry, I'm used to painting jars. If your vase got a little wonky, uh-oh, I just made it wonkier. And come back and tweak that. But this is where you can kind of fix it and smooth out your edges. And to get a good smooth edge, you just want to grab a lot of paint and then just be really light with it. But I'm going to throw some light gray all at the bottom, a little bit through our handle, and we can come back and like brighten it up with some white later too, but throw some gray through your handle. And then you want a little bit of gray like near your edges, because that's going to kind of help it look round and a little bit more 3D. And then we'll put a little bit on this side too. And then I'm just gonna smear just a little bit of gray in a few places over the jar too, because we'll come back and throw some more white on there. And then I'm just gonna kind of wipe that off and grab a little bit more white. And then I'm just gonna And then I'll just kind of add a little bit of white right there too. And then I'm gonna let it dry, because we can come back and tweak it. But kind of the more paint you put on there, the easier it is to kind of blend it. So we have a layer through our vase, and at least it's finally kind of looking like a vase. I was kind of scared of it there for a second. So we got that on there. Let's wipe that one off, chunk it in the water. And now let's get the start of our flowers on there. All right, so now we're gonna like start throwing a few of our flowers on there, our cherry blossoms. So I would grab like a number 4 size brush and dry it off. And we're gonna start with like some white and maybe a little bit of light pink with it. So some white and light pink together. And let's start by throwing like some big flowers. Whoa, I have some crazy paint on there. And I'm gonna throw it, like whenever you're doing the petals, they're gonna be a little abstract because cherry blossoms, they're kind of so small that it's all right if they're like a little funky. They kind of bend in. So they're gonna be bent in all which way. So there really is no like perfect way to get it on there. So just kind of grab a lot of paint with your brush and you're just kind of throwing a little petal. And then for all of them, you wouldn't see all the petals because how they twist and turn. So that kind of makes it easier. You don't have to be perfect when you're putting it on. Like that one, I'm gonna do like 3, this one 4. And don't worry if you can see your background still like a little bit through there, because once it dries, we can throw us a little bit more paint on there. But I'm gonna throw like some big ones up here. And I just have a little light pink with it because it's probably gonna dry like a little bit darker than it goes on. And I'm gonna throw like some big flowers over here. So just kind of like some little dabs, but the trick is to load your brush with a lot of paint and then just be real light with it. And then I'll throw another big one. Then I'm gonna skip, well, let's skip kind of towards the lip of the jar and throw us like a really big one over here, like a few kind of together. So it's gonna kind of look jumbled right now, but then when we throw a little center on there in a second, it'll be fine. And then, so we have this like a couple big groupings because we'll kind of make these look more separate later on. And then we'll throw like a few big ones over here. So it's just kind of loading your brush with a lot of paint and then just kind of throwing a little, kind of like a little blob. But to get the good smooth edge, you just want a bunch of paint and then just kind of be light with it. And then maybe throw I'm getting a little crazier with this painting than the original, but I'm gonna throw some big ones even though they're gonna hit closer to the top. All right, let's see. We got most of our big ones on there. Let's throw a few little ones, some like little buds. So for that, it'll just kind of be like a little dab. And I'm adding just a little bit of like a hot pink with it. So like a flamingo pink kind of. I'm gonna throw some little dabs near this one too. And then while I have the hot pink, I might throw a little bit through just a few of my cherry blossoms. And then I'm probably gonna let that dry for a second, so I'll just wipe that one off, chunk it in the water. So grab a teeny tiny brush and dry it off, and we're gonna grab some like darker browns. And now we're gonna connect our flowers to make them look like they're actually coming out of our vase. So you wanna grab some browns, and I'm just gonna start by throwing like a little stem. And the trick is to load your brush with a lot of paint, and then just be really light with it. And then we'll have that stem like come on up to the top here, because we'll throw a few like green buds off of there. And don't worry that it's going on there all one color, because we can come back and throw some different colors on there. I'm gonna throw like a few more stems. Another one leaning that way. And then I'm gonna connect these over here. So I'm gonna throw maybe a little stem that goes up through the middle. And then I need to kind of connect like all these on the right. So I'm gonna have definitely a little stem connecting that one. Like a few up there too. We just want to make sure like all of our little flowers are connected. And then I'm probably going to make these little buds come off of here above. So just throw you some like little stems. All right. I think we about have everything connected. At least by a little something something. Might throw us another stem right here. All right, let's see. We got the start to that. So now let's grab like a little bit of the lighter brown, and we're gonna throw like a few lighter streaks in there with the dark, just to kind of give some texture. Whoops, put a little bit of the flower in there. All right, We got us a little bit of light, hopefully. And then we'll let our flowers dry for a sec. So while we have that teeny tiny, just kind of wipe it off and rinse it out and dry it off. And we'll grab some of the two grays together. So like a light gray and like a dark gray. And right here where the handle touches our vase, which actually I might have made the handle come over a little too far, we'll just kind of add that C shape back on there. And since I'm moving mine closer to the edge, I can cover that part up later. But we're just going to kind of add that little C. And the same thing right here. I think I brought my handle in too far. So I'm just going to chop it off a little bit with a C. All right, and then we'll go ahead and wipe that one off, chunk it in the water. I'm going to grab a little bit smaller size brush to hit my vase this time. So not the teeny tiny, but like a number 4 or something. And now I'm just going to add some more paint, like right here where I made my handles not come in quite as much. I'm going to then I'm going to go ahead and while I have the paint on this little brush, I'm just going to kind of touch up my grays. So through the bottom too, I'm just going to kind of, and it's probably going to dry a little darker than it goes on. All right, I think we got our vase looking a little bit better. And while we have that one, I'm going to touch up my black and gray too, like on the edges. I think I still have too much of that white in my brush. It's kind of smearing it. But okay, so we kind of touched up our handle. Now we'll just wipe that one off, chunk it in the water. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead now that our flowers are a little bit more dry. Thank goodness. Let's go ahead and add some centers to them. So let's grab like a number 4 and dry it off. And we'll grab some like red and pink and maybe even a little bit of brown with it. So some red and pink and some brown. And now let's add just a little bit of dark. So on all of them, you don't want to do it like right in the middle. On some of them, I would do it like on the edge. And this one, I'm going to make it kind of into 3 flowers. So I'm going to add a little bit. And like the smaller the flower, like just do a little dab. Then let's make this into a couple little flowers. And we can come back and brighten up the petals. So we're just kind of dabbing our middles in there for right now. And then I'm going to make this into a bunch. And then I might even throw like a little bit of dark on like the bottom of my buds. All right, so we got a little dark, hopefully like some middles through all those. Then just kind of wipe that off. And now let's grab some green. So let's start with like some dark green. And let's throw just a few little buds. I accidentally picked up a little bit of light, but that's fine. We're just gonna throw like a few little buds kind of on the end of some of these brown twigs. You don't have to hit the ends of all of them, but, and I'm gonna start with the dark and then I can go back and throw a little bit of light on there. Let's see. I think that's good. And then I'll grab a little bit of light and go back and throw just a little light through the top of those. And then I'm going to switch out to a small brush again. So I'm just going to wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. I'm going to grab a teeny tiny again, so like a number 1. And I'm going to grab some more of the greens, so kind of like the medium greens, like a sagey green. And I'm going to connect some of these buds just so they're not hanging out by themselves. I'm going to throw a little bit to connect them, making sure all of them are kind of connected. I throw a little green over here just to give it a little green. Trying to make sure I think that's enough green. So just so you have a little bit, and we'll see how that dries. And then we can wipe that one off and rinse it out because we're still going to use that teeny tiny. And I would just dry it off and grab a little bit of black. And now I'm going to write a word on here, and I'm going to do pour to kind of, since everybody collects Ray Dunn these days. So just use the teeny tiny and the black. And you just want to do like really tall, thin letters. And this one on the left is going to be even thinner because it's kind of going around the curve. But don't worry if your letters get a little wonky. Just let them dry. We can come back and tweak them. So I might have got them like a little thick, so I can come back and thin them up anywhere that I put it on there too thick. Okay. Might have to come back and thin them a little. Alrighty, so we got the start to our word on there. Let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. All right, now let's touch up these flowers just a little bit, and then I think they'll be good. So let's grab number 4, which I'm searching for here. I must only have like one number 4 in my cup today. But grab like a number 4 and dry it off. And we're gonna grab some more of that white and light pink together, and we're just gonna thicken up our blooms. So just kind of load your brush and kind of glob it on there. And this is where you can eat away if the middle got, out of control too. it's all right if like a few of these kind of blend together, because you can still kind of tell they're cherry blossoms. But the texture is what's going to make it look good. So like kind of once you get that first layer, then just kind of glob on that second layer without making them any bigger. Just kind of glob a little bit through the middle of each petal. Alrighty, I think we got it. I might go back and dab just a little bit more pink in a few places. Got a little pink on there. Alright, and then I might touch up my green just to make it a little bit brighter. And then I'm going to wipe that one off and rinse it out and dry it off. I'm going to touch up the lip of my jar just because it had a stem that went over there. All right, I think that's pretty good. You could come back and glob like some more paint places to make them a little bit more textured. But I think that kind of looks like cherry blossoms. We'll add a little pink to the edge of these in a few places to make them a little messed up. So the like bubblegum pink and the dark pink just to kind of smear it a little bit near the edge. All right. I think it looks pretty good, so let's wipe that one off. Let's touch up our word and then we'll be ready to sign it. So we'll kind of wipe that one off and rinse it out because I'll use a number 4 probably to touch up. And grab some of that white with a little light gray. And this is where you can go back and if your word got a little thick anywhere, you can thin it up. All right, and now we'll sign this puppy. So use the teeny tiny and just whatever color. There we go, we have the cherry blossoms in the picture. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to check us out. We're on Cox Street in Asheboro. And be sure to check out our website, www.thepreppypossum.com.